everyone, and welcome back to Campus Crier. This week, I'm going to be doing something a little different than a tutorial. I'm going to be reacting to some different student news websites and letting you all know what I think. I'm going to rate these websites on a scale of 1 to 10 based on how effective I think they are and how cool they look. Now, obviously this isn't meant to be a slight on anyone's website. We're all students and we're all trying to learn. This is just my opinion. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first website that I'll be reacting to today is the Iowa State Daily, which is at iowastatedaily.com. And when you get to this website, I like the color scheme. They've got the school colors incorporated, but it doesn't look cringy or anything. Right at the top of the page is a giant link to their e-newsletter, which is really apparent, looks good. I think it'll get people to click on it. And then under that, there's the top news stories. One thing that I don't like so much is this story here. The image at the top here doesn't look great. It's a tweet screen grab, and it's a little cut off and just not the most exciting. This is a pretty important story, so I think it's good to have it at the top of the page. I like this. I like the By Dawn headline. I think that's a catchy headline. And then under that, there's lifestyle, sports, and opinions. Pretty good. I think it'd be good to have some cooler images here. There's a lot of stock photos. And then there's quite a bit of emptiness at the bottom of the page, which is a little confusing to me, but maybe that's because of the ads. But all in all, looks like a pretty good homepage. Like the colors, like the newsletter, like the layout. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. So the next website that I'm reacting to here is the Northern Iowan. So that is northerniowan.com. And I like this logo up here at the top. I think it looks cool. It's got the school colors in it. Very fun. And then underneath that, there's a slideshow. And I like the slideshow. It's got some interesting images, but I feel like it's a little confusing as to like what the top news is or like what the most important story that we're supposed to be looking at here is. So I think if I was a viewer like coming to check out the site, I'd be a little confused by like what I should look at first. Then there's the news section under that, and a weekly newsletter sign up. And I feel like this one just isn't as prominent as the sign up on the Iowa State Daily's website. And I'm a little confused by this QR code thing, because if you're looking at the website on your phone or your desktop, you shouldn't need to scan a QR code. But I guess if you click on the link, it takes you to the newsletter sign up. So I like that, but I think it might be easier if the newsletter sign up was just directly on the website. Then there's the sports section, opinions. Yeah, overall, looks pretty good. Pretty interesting website. But just a few like confusing features. So I'll give this website a 6 out of 10. So this next website here is the Daily Tar Heel. Pretty well respected paper. And their website looks really nice. Again, with the school colors, but I really like blue. So maybe that's personal bias, but it looks really nice. One thing I don't love is how giant this ad at the top here is. Probably not much they can do about it, but it is a little unfortunate. And then here, got the top news story. I like how they have these little like bullet points here to like describe what it's about. I think that's really good. And there's editor's picks, which I think is a cool section. Interesting, the internal diversity audit, like right here at the top, embarrassing lack of representation. I like how the first thing here has like a summary, so like you kind of know what it's about. Then under that, I like how they have these like featured project and one good read sections. I think that's really interesting, a good way to feature things. And then they also have a newsletter sign up. I think it'd be cool if it was like as prominent as the newsletter sign up is on the Iowa State Daily's website, but it's there and pretty easy to sign up for. Yeah, and then there's just sports content and more things like that towards the end of the page. Overall, I think this website looks really good, really easy to see everything, and there's a lot of like unique ways that content is being like organized and featured. So yeah, really good website. I'll give it a 8.5 out of 10. So the last website here is the Daily Northwestern, pretty well regarded paper at a pretty well regarded school. And it looks like they might be using the same, or at least like a very similar WordPress theme to the last paper. So that's interesting. We can compare what the differences are. I like their kind of logo at the top here, very simple, looks good. Again, they've got kind of this like featured story here at the top. But I kind of wish they had the bullets that the Daily Tar Heel had, because that looked really interesting. And like latest stories. One thing I feel like I'm noticing here is that like it's a little crowded up here at the top. Like I'm not exactly sure what I should be focusing on, because there's just like quite a bit to look at. But I really like this image that they have at the top here. That's a cool photograph. It looks really nice. I like how they have a video like featured pretty prominently here. That's cool. And podcasts. So there's a lot of different types of things. I think that looks really neat. Campus, city, sports. And they have their like kind of like magazine like thrown down in here at the bottom. Overall, I like this website a lot too, but it kind of feels a little crowded to me, so I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Thank you all so much for tuning in. That's all for this week. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe and check out our Instagram at Campus Crier, and also take a look at our blog, campuscrier.com. See you next week.